The psychology of people who don't obsess over sports. Have you ever noticed someone who doesn't schedule their life around game nights, doesn't argue over teams, and doesn't feel emotionally shaken by wins or losses? In a world where sports loyalty is often treated like identity, these people quietly stand apart. They don't memorize statistics, wear jerseys with pride, or let outcomes affect their mood. Some see them as boring, disconnected, or not fun, but psychology reveals something far deeper. Not obsessing over sports is rarely about indifference. It often reflects emotional regulation, independent identity, and a different relationship with stimulation and belonging. For many, sports are simply entertainment, not emotional anchors. Let's explore the real psychology behind people who don't obsess over sports, and why their detachment often signals balance rather than emptiness. Number 1. Identity built beyond group loyalty. People who don't obsess over sports often develop their identity independently of group affiliation. While sports fandom gives many people a sense of belonging, shared emotion, and collective pride, these individuals build their sense of self from internal values rather than external symbols. Their confidence doesn't come from wearing a jersey, defending a team, or aligning with a crowd. Instead, it grows from personal interests, skills, beliefs, and long-term goals. Psychologically, this reflects a strong internal identity, one that remains stable regardless of social trends or collective outcomes. They don't feel the need to pick a side to feel complete. This doesn't mean they reject community, it means they don't need identity shortcuts. Their self-worth isn't borrowed from a team's success or threatened by its failure. As a result, their sense of self stays intact, consistent, and self-defined, even in environments that pressure people to belong. Number 2. Strong emotional regulation. People who don't obsess over sports tend to have a calmer emotional baseline. They don't allow unpredictable events, referee calls, missed shots, or final scores to control their mood. Psychologists associate this with emotional regulation, the ability to experience feelings without becoming overwhelmed by them. While many fans ride emotional highs and lows tied to games, these individuals maintain emotional stability. Their nervous system prefers consistency over spikes of excitement and disappointment. This doesn't mean they lack passion or joy. It means they are selective about what earns emotional investment. They understand, often subconsciously, that intense emotional attachment to uncontrollable outcomes can create unnecessary stress. By staying emotionally detached from sports results, they preserve mental energy for areas of life where effort and emotion lead to meaningful change. Their calm is not indifference, it's intentional regulation. Number 3. Low need for tribal validation. Sports culture often fulfills a deep psychological need for tribal belonging, the comfort of being part of an us that competes against a them. People who don't obsess over sports usually have a lower dependence on this form of validation. They don't require group chants, shared outrage, or collective celebration to feel connected or valued. Their sense of belonging comes from fewer but deeper sources: close relationships, personal purpose, or inner alignment. Psychologically, this reflects self-validation, the ability to feel secure without constant reinforcement from a group. They don't feel excluded from the tribe, they simply don't rely on tribes to regulate their self-esteem. As a result, their sense of self stays intact, consistent, and self-defined, even in environments that pressure people to belong. Number 4. Preference for meaningful stimulation. Rather than seeking high arousal entertainment, people who don't obsess over sports often gravitate towards stimulation that feels meaningful, enriching, or mentally engaging. Loud crowds, repetitive commentary, and emotional intensity may feel draining rather than exciting. Their minds are drawn to activities that offer depth, learning, creating, problem-solving, or reflection. Psychologically, this preference is linked to cognitive depth and introspective orientation. They value experiences that build understanding rather than momentary adrenaline. This doesn't mean they dislike fun, it means they prefer stimulation that leaves something behind: insight, growth, or clarity. Their attention is intentional, not reactive. Instead of being pulled by spectacle, they choose experiences that align with their inner world. Over time, this creates a richer internal life and a stronger sense of personal meaning beyond entertainment cycles. Number 5. Detachment from outcome-based self-worth. Many people unconsciously tie their self-esteem to outcomes they cannot control, including sports victories and defeats. When the team wins, they feel elevated. When it loses, they feel personally affected. People who don't obsess over sports avoid this psychological pattern entirely. Their self-worth isn't outsourced to external results. Psychologists associate this with emotional maturity, the ability to separate personal value from performance-based outcomes. They understand that confidence built on uncontrollable factors is fragile. By staying detached, they protect their self-esteem from unnecessary fluctuations. Their mood, confidence, and identity remain stable regardless of who wins or loses. This detachment doesn't reflect apathy, it reflects clarity. They choose to invest emotionally where effort, responsibility, and growth are directly connected. As a result, their sense of self is resilient, grounded, and less vulnerable to disappointment. Final thoughts. People who don't obsess over sports are often misunderstood in a culture that equates passion with noise and belonging with loyalty. Their detachment isn't emptiness, it's awareness. They understand, consciously or not, that constant emotional investment in uncontrollable outcomes can quietly drain energy, attention, and inner stability. By choosing not to anchor their identity, emotions, or self-worth to teams and results, they preserve psychological balance. Their calm reflects intentional living, not a lack of interest in life. They invest their focus where it creates growth, meaning, and personal fulfillment rather than temporary emotional highs. In a world driven by hype, rivalry, and collective emotion, their neutrality is not boredom, it's self-control. They don't reject excitement, they simply refuse to let entertainment dictate who they are or how they feel. Psychologically, this ability to stay grounded amid emotional extremes is a sign of maturity. Balance, after all, is not the absence of passion, it's mastery over it.